So this video is going to be about grace, gratitude, and pride, and how they relate to you as a high performer in any field. Obviously, I know most of the people subscribed here are athletes, but this applies to more than just your sport. And these principles, I'm thankful that I've kind of stumbled into them over the last couple of years, and it's made a world of difference in the way that I approach my training and my joy for the game and my ability to just be in that flow state more often when I'm competing. Sometimes the things that helped you get good in the first place, like the discipline, the being hard on yourself, expecting a lot from your training and your performances, those same things can prevent you from becoming even better as you progress in your athletic career. And so what I mean by that is, like, I'll give you an example. So I'm in spring training right now. It's my 4th or 5th spring training, and I'm finally realizing that you need to give yourself some grace, especially at the start of any new season, right? I mean, this is like preseason. And the idea of going out there and expecting that you're going to be running on all cylinders immediately and not giving yourself any grace during this period is just kind of setting you up to get in your own way, really. And it kind of prevents you from recognizing the growth that you're making. So in the past, if I had an outing where a couple pitches felt just off, or like super non-competitive, I might read into it way more than, this year. I've had a couple of those pitches and I'm just approaching them from a much mature lens. I'm giving myself more grace. And it's not that you're, making exceptions for yourself and you're just, and that you don't have any standards. It's not like that at all. It's just understanding where you're at what part of your season and your career, and where you need to give yourself grace. Because most guys, they err on like way too far of one side of the spectrum. Either zero grace, right, expecting that perfection at all times, or it's like making excuses for themselves over and over again. And if you're on one side of those, you need to start to move to the middle, to where if you're that guy that is like always demanding that everything needs to be exactly like perfect when you're out there, you don't give yourself any of that grace, you're going to be banging your head against the wall. You're not going to enjoy your time competing and your time training. And ultimately, it's probably going to prevent you from being as good as you could be. It's so easy to fall into the like never good enough trap, right? Like any outing that you have, there's always something you can pick apart about it. And while there's times to do that, I find that a lot of people enjoy that, like always picking apart their performances, and it can become almost like this habit, this like neurotic feeling of everything that you do, every performance that you have is never good enough, right? You're never like worthy, like you're never just content with how you do. And when I mean content, I don't mean like you're sitting back and like you don't give a shit anymore because you had one good outing. It's not like that, but it's the ability to be happy with the work that you put in and learn from your mistakes, constantly beating yourself over the head because you didn't do one or two things that you've set out and you've been working on. So I know most of you guys are in the beginning of your baseball season, or the middle almost, but I encourage you to challenge yourself to find the areas in your training or in your life where you can give yourself a little bit more of that grace. So a lot of times this is like when you're learning a new pitch or a new skill or a new type of movement. Some people, they quit before they can even see it through because they don't give themselves any grace. They expect to just like try to implement something and it just magically is going to work without any setbacks. And when they hit those setbacks, they're like, oh, like, this isn't it. And then they don't give themselves any grace, and then they abandon it when it could have been something for them. And then so like touching on gratitude a bit more, massive shift for me personally has been the ability to be grateful for the opportunity to compete in certain moments, as opposed to the anxiety around what if I don't hit these expectations. And this ties in with grace perfectly. And these two virtues are a bit softer, right, than your traditional like sport speak, like discipline, grind. You don't really hear people talking about gratitude and or grace very much at all. And I think that makes them even more fitting, right? There's a massive lack of people being tapped into some of the softer, more gentle virtues in sports, especially with like youth sports kind of being funneled in this direction where everything is taken so seriously from a young age that any of those like softer, gentler virtues are kind of like viewed in a bad light, right? And the kids start to download that information and they think, oh, I can't have any grace with myself. I need to be super hard on myself, to the point of being detrimental. And then also, like, in the midst of that, they lose any gratitude for the opportunities they have, because it's all about these outcomes. It's all about the box score. It's all about these random stats instead of the gratitude to get to compete, right? Which is like, it's like we've already won. And kind of tying that back into like a spiritual lens, where you have all these worldly goals that you have, right? But if you're a Christian, it's like, and you're on that path and you're continuing to pursue that relationship, and you're building that momentum of your faith-based life. It's like you've already won. You've already accomplished. You've already accomplished those goals, and this is just icing on the cake to go out and compete and perform, and use whatever pedestal you have to kind of share your story and your journey. And I think this ties back into pride, because like some of you guys are so prideful that you just can't even give yourself any of that grace, right? Because you have this image of you in your mind, like you should just be steamrolling everything, and everything should just work out for you because you do your visualization, you do all your work in between outings. But it's like we can't fail to realize that there's some randomness to the game. There's a ton of variance, and we can't really predict this stuff. So if you go and play a game like that with that many uncontrollable outcomes, and you approach it with zero grace, you're gonna find yourself in a very frustrated headspace. And when we can start to humble ourselves and level that pride, we can allow some of that grace in. We can allow some more of that gratitude in. And then suddenly we look up and we're actually enjoying what we do, right? And we're playing the game. We're not working the game. Some of you guys aren't even getting paid to play this game, and you're already treating it like this duty, right? Like this obligation. And when you start to view stuff like that, that gratitude, that grace goes out the window. Another cool piece I wanted to tie in was, this kind of goes into pride as well, but if you're a Christian athlete and you fear judgment from your coach, your teammates, your parents, your peers, more than the weight that you put on from judgment from God, then your priorities are just mismatched. And this is a freeing thing once you realize that. It's like, I'm basing my litmus test and my value off of the judgment that is ultimately coming from God, not the judgment of my performances or training in my sport from my peers. But if you guys are to really think about where you're at currently, I would bet a lot of you place way more weight in the judgment of the seen, right, instead of the unseen, even though the seen is going to be fleeting and temporary and the unseen will be eternal. So I encourage you to sit with that one and be like, am I a guy that places that much of my weight and my identity in what my pitching coach or my hitting coach or my teammates, think of me. And then at the same time, I call myself a Christian, but I really don't care about the judgment from the unseen, from God. And this is a very freeing thing, because when you start to fully actually align your behaviors and what you place value in, you start to actually be freed up on the field, because you're not competing for your peers, your coaches, your teammates, right? You're no longer competing for them. Your identity is no longer largely driven by what you think they think about you. And so in that moment, it's easier to be grateful for competition, and it's easier to have grace with yourself. Because when you're in that fight or flight mode of like, my whole identity is based off of what my teammates think of me, you're going to be super hard on yourself, because all that matters is those random outcomes. And then at the same time, you're going to miss out on any type of appreciation for the opportunity you're in, because all these outside factors are contributing for you to not even recognize the opportunities that you have in front of you to play the game, and everything in your life that has come up to this moment to go play a game that you most likely grew up playing with your friends. And so I just encourage you to reflect and be like, where are my priorities? Who do I care about getting judged by more? My peers, teammates, coaches, or is it by God? And it's a freeing thing to sit with. What do you do when you are grateful for something, you feel the need to give back, right? And so many of you guys approach competition from a viewpoint of, I need to take stuff because I'm not grateful, I don't have any grace, I need to take stuff from this game. The game owes me things. Versus, I'm here to compete, I'm an entertainer, I'm going to express myself, I'm going to give stuff to this game because I'm grateful for what it's giving me. A lot of the game, you guys don't even realize what the game is giving you, so you don't have any gratitude or need to express and give back to the game. It's always, what can I take from the game, right? And we're shelling up out there, and then it shows in your body language, instead of entering the game from that sense of already overflow, already thankful before a pitch is even thrown, before a shot is even taken. So that's my video for you guys today. I hope you can glean some value in it. If you find any value in it, I ask that you just please like and subscribe to the channel. If someone that is struggling with some of these ideas and would be interested in it, just ask that you share it with them. So appreciate all you, and I'll catch you in the next one.